go through baptism and confirmation. And so this week we get to hear the testimony of Stephen Lee. So if you could welcome him with a nice warm harvest welcome.
Good morning, Harvest. For those who don't know me, my name is Steven. I'm a technical writer in an engineering company, and my hobbies include salsa dancing, bachata dancing, kizomba dancing, a little zouk, playing music, and learning languages. And only for $9.99, you can get it in 1 week. No, I was baptized on Easter Sunday, woot woot, in front of the church, as long as in front of my family and my friends. And I must say, that was a great honor, for they were able to witness the grace of God in my life. And to be honest, that was a very high point in my life. But in my story, I've had many low points. And the first one was when I was 4 years old, my parents got divorced. And when my parents got divorced, it was tough. I had a lot of hatred and jealousy, and those feelings didn't really surface until I was 25. When I was 25, when I was 21, I moved to Florida in having aspirations to become a famous musician, a famous rapper. Can you imagine, right? But I traded those dreams in to pursue management at Disney. And so I started off at Speedway and Magic Kingdom. If you don't know what Speedway is, it's an outdoor go-kart ride. So I started off as an attractions host, and what I would do is I would let families come in the ride, get them secure in the ride, and then push a button and send them on their way. And, as much of a great company Disney is, I just wasn't happy. I was being paid very low wage. So therefore, I always felt like I was never saving any money. I worked weekends, nights, and even holidays. And so my obligation was to my job, so therefore I missed a few friend get-togethers, family reunions, and unfortunately, a few weddings too. I got promoted to trainer, but I lost it due to some mistakes I had made. And if you ever worked with the public, you would know that working with the public can be savage. People can be very mean, and I've had times where people would come up to me and when they had issues, and not my fault, like maybe a ride broke down, and they would come up and say, "You ruined my vacation." Or I'd be working on Christmas, and they would tell me, "You should smile more. It's Christmas." I also, I had a few issues with my roommates. One time, my roommates trashed the apartment, and they left it in ruin, and then they left. And they left me with the bill, $500 gone. And during that time, anger dwelled within me. And I hated the world. I hated people. And I hated people so much that I isolated myself from the world. And I no longer want to interact with people at all. My daily routine consisted of me waking up, going to work, coming home, watching Netflix, and then going to bed without interacting with anyone. And I didn't do this just for a week. I did this for 2 to 3 years. And in my solitude, I grew sad, depressed, and there was a point where I just felt like I was trapped. And because I felt like I was trapped, I didn't want to live anymore. And I just wanted it to end. Due to my hatred and my jealousy, I strained relationships with my family, who loved me very much. I yelled at my mom for no reason. I blamed my troubles on my dad. I treated my cousin's boyfriend like crap. And even sometimes, I would treat my cousin like a stranger. But what changed from me being that person to being a person full of hope and love, the person I am now? Well, I went to house church, Hiroshima House Church, and there I found love. I found comfort, and I found selflessness in the people there. And I asked myself, why are these people giving so much of themselves to a stranger without expecting anything in return? And over time, coming more to harvest, I learned it's because the love of God in Jesus. And I knew God. I knew Jesus when I was young. I grew up in a Catholic school. But this was the very first time I saw people walk the teachings. And that was the very first time for me, I wanted to walk those teachings, to live that life. In Harvest, I saw in each and every one of you the love, the support, and the open arms that family treats their members. And that's because you follow Jesus and love God. And no longer did I want to be that hateful person. No longer did I want to be the bad guy. I wanted to love. I wanted to support those who needed it. And I wanted to be that example. I want to be that example, Jesus' example, to show others and the world that, to help them understand that love conquers hate and God's love never fails. I tell you my story because I want those who can relate and those who feel like they're sad and depressed, that you're not alone. Your 20s and your 30s, those are the best times of your lives. And honestly, they are. But it doesn't come without its challenges and its roadblocks. I'll end with one last story. I was in Houston for about a month ago, and I went to de-stress and to have fun. I went to a social salsa dance event, and this event was in a restaurant, and it had a dance floor right there. And at this dance event, there were just a few people there, young people mostly. But what stood out to me was that there was this 7-year-old man, Indian guy, right? Older as my grandfather, and he was just tearing up the dance floor. I mean, he was doing all these moves like a 20-year-old would do, just like spins and turns and all these. I was like, wow, like you could feel that energy. You could feel it. I was like, bro, I gotta talk to this man. So I went up to him. I was like, sir, I gotta ask you. You're 70. You're. I didn't say this, but you're old as my grandfather, right? What motivates you to dance? Why do you dance? He goes, son, let me tell you 2 things, right? Well, actually, these are the rules I live by in my life. He said, number 1, be nice to everyone, right? Doesn't matter if they spit in your face, be nice to everyone. And number 2, live your life to the fullest. And honestly, I believe what he was saying is what Jesus has always said. So number 1, be nice to everyone. Turn the other cheek when you are wrong. And number 2 is to live life to the fullest. But live life loving God, with God, and the people that love you. For I believe chapter 10, verse 10, it says, he promises that he will give us a life to the full. When we trust God, he enables us to live the life that we are meant to live. And I'm starting to do that. You know, when I took becoming a child of God class, I learned more about God's love and grace. And that's why I got baptized. Knowing that I am loved, I am able to love people. I'm also able, most importantly, I love God. I thank you for those who helped me in my path. Thank you.